What's up, Greek pals? I hear tell that you'd like to learn how to expand your vocabulary and thereby augment your articulacy. Well, attend and learn, dear friends. For today, I'm going to give you 5 tips for adding to your linguistic stockpile. Brian Kelly here, your square esquire and lovable prig, giving all manner of writers, rewriters, and speakers tips and tidbits on the lexical tools of their trade, the better that they might be able to distinguish themselves as careful users of the language and take their communication skills from enough to effective. I release videos every Thursday, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a chance to learn the best ways with words. With that said, let's get underway. The first tip is to cultivate the dictionary habit. I know, seems wildly counterintuitive, right? But it would actually stand you in good stead to get into the habit of looking up words that you don't know. And I'm not talking about simply punching the letters into Google and going with whatever free dictionary throws at you first. Y'all know who you are. All of you know who you are. It's recommended that when looking up words that you refer to one of the recognized brands such as Merriam-Webster, Oxford Dictionaries, American Heritage Dictionary, and even Random House, whose lexicography department is sadly now defunct. But the long and short of it is, the reason that you want to go with the brand is that a brand represents a promise, and in the case of dictionaries, the promise of a certain scholarship and a certain accuracy throughout. And while we're at it, you may want to avail yourself of a hard copy or 2, one for the office and one for the home, if there is any distinction between the two anymore. Although the research has been contradictory surrounding this, there are some findings that indicate that it aids reading comprehension when we read from a physical copy. So, Dead Tree fans, whoop whoop! In addition, looking up words in a physical dictionary can also aid serendipitous discovery, which is to say, you're more likely to encounter a cool word that you didn't even know existed while you're looking up the one you're currently searching for. The second tip is to dump that thesaurus. No, not literally, but it might be helpful if you didn't refer to it as often. The problem with thesauri is that oftentimes they don't really encourage careful word selections. They just have a humble jumble of them all together. Frankly, when I'm looking for the perfect word, or le mot juste, I go with a reverse dictionary. One option for a reverse dictionary is this one, by Theodore Bernstein. It was actually published in 1975. It's a little old and it's actually no longer in print. But you can find it on some websites floating around on eBay or ABE Books here and there. One option, however, for a great current reverse dictionary is the One Look Reverse Dictionary online. And I know I'm kind of reversing what I said about digital versus physical dictionaries, but I guess it's only fitting, right? Since it's a reverse dictionary and anyway. I'm a lawyer. I don't do humor. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to that dictionary looking for a word that I knew the definition of, but just didn't know the word itself. So for instance, if I type in the words righteous anger, the word indignation is going to come up. Bottom line, it's a great tool if you want to find the precise word that expresses your meaning. Just make sure to check it against one of the more well-known brands that I mentioned earlier, like Merriam-Webster, Oxford, American Heritage, what have you, just to be safe. Our third tip is to read good writing. This is in marked contrast, you'll notice, to the received wisdom that you should read whatever makes you happy. So no, the funnies in Captain Underpants don't count, nor do those error-written Facebook and Twitter essays. You can read about what you're interested in, just be selective. If you want to read about sports, choose an article out of The New Yorker. If you want to read about technology or business or finance, go with The Economist or The Wall Street Journal. Those publications in particular are known for their rigorous copy editing. So besides picking up plenty of good writing skills by osmosis, you're going to learn so many new words. Words that you will add to what will constitute our fourth tip. Keep a notebook. I'm talking about a physical notebook, not Microsoft Word, not the Notes app on your iPhone, a physical notebook. 5-star, Moleskine, I don't care what brand it is. Just keep a physical copy. It insures you against loss, or at least loss of a technical sort. And also, there is research that shows that it aids memory retention to actually write words down by hand. When you're writing down a word, make sure to note any peculiarities, such as its part of speech if it's not obvious, as well as whether it's a part of an idiom. For example, if you come across the word cockles, if you look it up in the dictionary, you'd find that it often occurs in the phrase, the cockles of one's heart. And so that's something you'd want to take a note of, so that way you're not just using cockles by itself, which would probably sound strange to a literate speaker who understands the word more than you do. You see, our fifth tip is to actually use the word, albeit in low-stakes communication. What do I mean by that? As long as you're not writing a memorandum to your company's shareholders, As long as you're not writing an academic paper, as long as you're not writing an email to a superior, you should feel comfortable using the words that you've learned in casual communication. Whether it's with a cashier at the grocery store or with a friend that you're texting. Eventually, you're going to use a word that's so curious that your interlocutor will probably inquire, "Hey, what does that word mean in the first place?" You'll have a chance to explain it to them, thereby reinforcing the meaning to you. Of course, if you're wrong, then you're going to be pretty embarrassed. But hey, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, am I right? But the benefit of it is that you're getting to experiment with these words in rhetorical situations that don't entail too much of a risk. And I found that actually using the words is the best way to move them from your reading vocabulary, or the words you're at least familiar with, to your active vocabulary, which are the words that you can use at a moment's notice. Sounds fun, right? Still, I'd like to end on some sobriety if it's okay. You see, even as we amass larger and larger lexicons, it's important to remember that the purpose of language is to express, not impress. The beauty of the English language especially is in its flexibility, its copiousness, its capacity for various nuances and shades of meaning, from the barely perceptible to the indubitably stark. I think it's in marshaling the forces of our tongue to such ends that misunderstandings are obviated and clarity is achieved, which is to say, the bonds between us are strengthened when the orderly mind uses words both intelligently and honestly. True, it's a most inglorious commission in our current age of insatiable attention-seeking, of manufactured political cadence and mealy-mouthed pandering. Still, I believe we can and must be men and women of our words. Our future as a species depends on it. If you enjoyed this video or found it to be interesting or helpful, please like it, share it, and feel free to leave a comment below if there are any strategies that have worked for you in word acquisition. Don't be shy, and I'll see you next time. And remember, propriety is always in.